Lesson 6.5, Solving Equations. Okay, we're going to use different methods here to solve equations. We've already learned a few. Most of the ones we're going to stick to, though, are the algebraic ones, or just using plain old algebra to solve it. We're not going to use a model that uses a balance. We're not going to use our algebra tiles, although you can use them for a lot of these. We're going to use algebra to solve some of these. So looking at this one here, these ones here are all about dividing x by a certain number. In this case, it's 12. In this case, it's 5. And in this case, it's 7. So I'm going to do one example of these. Take A right here. So we've got x over 7 equals 4. Keeping in mind that x over 7 means divided by 7. And the way to get rid of that divided by 7 is to do the opposite, which means multiply it by 7. That will cancel out the 7s because 7 over 7 is 1 as a fraction. Over here, you're going to do the same. You're going to multiply it by 7 because if you do it to one side of the equal sign, you must do it to the other. So x equals, and then 4 times 7 is 28. And there's your answer. And the easy way to check your answer is take that 28 and plug it back into this guy right here, into x. So you'd have 28 over 7 equals 4, and it will be that on each side. So let's take the next one. Since it's divided by, so we've got x divided by 5 equals 5. Now we want to get rid of this divided by 5, so we'll do the opposite. We will multiply it by 5. That will cancel out the 5's and leave us with just x. We, of course, must multiply the other side of the equal sign by 5. So we got x all by himself now on one side of the equal sign, and 5 times 5 is 25. And we can verify our solution by plugging it back in. Let's do one. So we had x over 5. So we'll do this to verify. So we got x over 5 equals 25. Let's plug in what we had for x. We said x was 25. Sorry, not 25. Let me fix that. There we go. X over 5 equals 5. So we said x was 25. So 25 in for x over 5 equals 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. So we've got 5 on both sides of the equal sign. So we have verified or checked our answer. So you do the exact same thing for C. You'd multiply it by 12. Now if we went the opposite, let's say it was 12x equals 12. So now it's not divided by 12, it is times 12. So in this case, you'd have to do the opposite of 12 times. You'd have to go divided by 12 on each side to get them to cancel out. And x would be 1 in this case. So remember to do the opposite. If you're dividing x by 12, you must multiply by 12 on each side. Okay, so all of these, ones and number 2, are done the same. In this case, you divide it by 7 on each side. In this case, you would have to add 9 to this side and then add 9 to that side. That will cancel out that, and then you just have to add 9. This one here, you would multiply by 5 on each side in order to cancel out the divided by 5. This one is a two-step one. First, you get rid of this guy by going subtract 13 on each side. And then at the very end, you divide by 2 to get rid of the 2 that's in front of the x. But you'd have to do it to both sides. Okay, looking at some of the word problems. This banquet hall problem that's here. The first thing you got to remember is whenever you're going to have an equation, okay, you're going to have some sort of a letter here. So it could be x, it could be y. You're going to have a letter on one side. It could be 3x, it could be 4x or whatever. You're going to have that, plus you're going to have a number here that never changes. In other words, a constant. Okay, if it was a bank account, it would be the money that's already in your account. Okay. And then, of course, you're going to have on this side a total. So the first thing you got to figure out is, What doesn't change? What is the constant thing that you know does not change? So let's look at this one here in number 3. It says a banquet hall charged $120 for the rental of the hall, plus $14 for each meal served. The total bill for the banquet is $610. So the total goes on this side, and the total altogether is $610. Now, what is it they're going to charge you that doesn't change, or the constant? Well, we know the $14 for each meal served changes, because if there's 2 meals served, it's twice that. If it's 3 meals served, it's 3 times that. So we've got $120 is what we've got to get charged no matter what. Even if we don't serve any meals, we're still going to have to pay $120 for the rental. And of course, $14 per meal. And I'm going to put 14M. So if it was 2 meals, it would be 2 times 14. If it was 3 meals, it would be 3 times 14. So our total bill came to this much. So now we got to figure out how many people came in order for it to total that much. Well, the first step is first. We're going to solve this. We've got plus 120 here, don't we? So to get rid of the plus 120, we go take away 120 from each side. That'll cancel him out. And of course, we take away 120 from this side. So we're left with 14m equals 610 take away 120. Well, if I go 610 take away 100, that leaves us with 510. And then take away another 10 leaves us with 500. And then take away another 10 leaves us with $490. Now I'm going to double check that just to make sure. So I've got 610 take away, oops, subtract 120. And the answer is 490. So the only thing we got left to do is we've got 14m in front of, we got a 14 in front of the m. Now that's really 14 times m. So to get rid of it, we divide it by 14, which is the opposite of times. And on this one here, we divide it by 14, because what we do to one side of our equal sign, we must do to the other. So now we've got m all by himself, and now we need to know 490 divided by 14. So we've already got 490 up there. Divide it by 14, and our answer is 35. So 35 is m. So remember, m stood for the number of meals, and each meal was $14, remember? So we served a total of 35 meals at the banquet. So we must have had 35 people there, more than likely. To verify this solution, or to check it, all you have to do is take your 14m, your original equation, plus 120 equals 610. So this was our original equation. Now let's put in where m was our answer, 35, plus 120, and each side of the equal sign should be the same if we're verifying our answer and we got it right. So let's do it. 14 times 35 equals 490. Then we're going to add our 120, and the answer is 610 on each side. So we have verified our answer and we know it's correct. Okay, so they're all pretty much done the same. You've got to determine what the equation is for them and then solve the problem. So I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do number 6. Number 6 says, write and then solve an equation to answer each question, then of course verify. So it's the same thing every time. So it says, at Rose's Garden Center, a 5-kilogram bag of fertilizer costs $8, and a 10-kilogram one costs $14. Okay, so there's our 2 different sizes of our bags, a 10-kilogram and a 5-kilogram bag. Rose sold $202 worth of fertilizer. So again, we've got to figure out what's constant and what is the total, and then what changes. So it said she sold $202 worth. So that's $202 total. Then it says she sold 6 5-kilogram bags. So how much was a 5-kilogram bag? That was $8. So if she sold 6 of those 5-kilogram bags, each one was $8, and she sold 6 of them. So we got to times 8 times 6. She sold a total of $48 worth of the 5-kilogram bags. So that's the constant. That doesn't change. They told us that. The only thing that changes now is we want to know how many 10-kilogram bags. So I'm going to put down B for the bags of 10 kilogram, and we know that each one of those costs $14. So if we have one bag, it's going to be 1 times 14. If we have 2 bags, it'll be 2 times 14. So now we have our equation. We know what changes, and that is the bags of 10-kilogram bags. And we know what stays the same. We already have been given the constant that we've sold that much in 5-kilogram bags. So let's get rid of this. We want to solve for B. So the first we got to get rid of is this plus 48 by taking it away from each side. So we take away 48 from each side, and we're left with 14B on one side, because these cancel each other out. 202 take away 48. And that'll be 154. And remember, the only thing we got left to solve for is B. So we're going to go divide it by 14 because it's 14 times B. But whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So B is all by himself. And now we just need to know what 154 divided by 14 is. 154 divided by 14. And your answer is 11. So the question is, Rose sold how many bags of 10-kilogram ones? She sold 11 10-kilogram bags. And of course, we could verify our solution by just plugging in our answer into our original equation. In other words, putting in 10 in for B and seeing if we get the same answer on each side of the equal side. B is done exactly the same. The only difference is it says Rose sold $206 worth this time. So we could take the exact same way we did it before. I'm not going to work this one out all the way. I'm just going to show you how to set it up. So she sold a total of $206 worth. And it says she sold 5 10-kilogram bags. So a 10-kilogram bag is 14 bucks. So she sold 5 times $14. And of course, we want to know how many 5-kilogram bags did she sell. So 5-kilogram bags are worth $8. So it's going to be $8 times the bag, each bag. So it's going to be 8B plus whatever this is. Well, 5 4s are 20, and 5 1s, so that'll be 70. So it'll be 8B plus 70 equals 206. I've gone this far, I might as well solve it now. So I want to take away 70 to get rid of that 70. So I'll take away 70 here, and I'm left with 8B equals whatever 206 take away 70 is. So 206 take away 70 is 136. And the only thing I have left to do now is divide each side by 8 because I want B all by himself. And the answer to B will be 136 divided by 8, which is 17. So there will be 17 of those 5-kilogram bags. So remember, every time you're trying to solve one of these problems, figure out what your constant is or what you already know, figure out what your total is, and then figure out what changes. That'll be the steps to solving those every time.